What's up, guys? It's the real main event, the Rogue Soldier, the essential John L. Crossfire.
And I'm Mrs. Crossfire.
And once again, you guys are tuned into Caught
in Conversation. Shakalaka-laka.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 116, episode 116 of Caught in Conversation. As always, I am the essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
And surprisingly, despite the fact that, as you're going to hear throughout this episode, we are currently dying with the man flu. Well, I have the man flu. Miss Nova Lee has some sort of sinus and RSV. She has an infection in her sinus tract. Anyway, I had bronchitis and literally looked like I was on the brink of getting freaking pneumonia again, but I seem to be on the mend. But it's just this cough just won't bugger off, and the fact that we're both asthmatic in this cold weather is just not helping. But the fact that you still did those dulcet tones still nailed them pretty well. But yeah, today we are here. It is Mark-A-Palooza 9, Avengeful Wrestlers versus Marvel. And you're going to hear it at the end of the conversation, but just in case you don't make it through the ranting after we do recap the card, I just want you guys to know, we're going to throw it out to you guys, and we're going to put a post on the Facebook page as well, and the Instagram page. Eventually, there's going to be an Instagram poll, depending on how many, so maybe we'll only get one suggestion, and that's just what it's going to be. But at Mark-A-Palooza 10, when it happens in the next month or two, probably in the next month or two, roughly, is going to be Wrestlers vs. Marvel Part 2, just because there's a few matches we've already pre-made, and we're definitely on the cards on top of whatever else ends up getting thrown in there. But we want to throw it out to you guys, the listeners, just get some more listener interaction. I used to always say fan interaction. I hate using that term. Listener interaction. And we're going to actually let you guys pick the name. So think of some sort of wrestling Marvel mashup pun. It doesn't just have to be Avengers, just Marvel in general. But yeah, wrestling / Marvel mashup, catchy title. Because I don't want to just go Avengeful too. But yeah, give us your suggestions and we'll sort it out and yada, yada, yada. But yeah, eventually when Mark-A-Palooza 10 happens, y'all are picking the name. So we're going to put that out very soon after this episode drops. So that way we can have it all ready and get the wheels in motion. Because as you'll hear in this conversation, if you do get all the way to the back end without losing your mind with just some of the stupidity that we talk about, we are thinking that I think from now on, where possible, like some of them may change, but wherever possible, all the Mark-A-Palooza ones where we do it, because obviously we've got 3 different formats. We've got the Rumble format, which fortunately we've only done the one Rumble so far just because of live. The original format where we write the full cards, and then now this one with the listener voting on the match results and the yada, yada, yada. But whenever we do this format, I think 2 weeks of voting, so that way we can pump it out on social media will be a thing. But yeah, we're going to put it out so you guys get to pick the name of that episode. But with that being said, we're here for this episode, and there's been a little confusion. I almost said 117 because originally we were going to do a World Series review, and we're actually going to drop it last week. If you're listening to this on the day that this drops, stuttering all over the place now. I think the caffeine's starting to wear off from the conversation that you're about to hear. But originally I was going to drop it the same day as T-Dog's episode, just a few hours later, but because we've been sick, we just haven't gotten there. Shit happens, life happens. We are still hoping to do it and just talk about our experience and your first live experience and just yada, yada, yada. There's that word again.
WCW?
WCW. No, WS which Nick Nemeth got the crowd to chant at the end of the show for the Sydney leg. But yeah, that is still coming at some point. Probably, if we're feeling better, we'll most likely be 117. But yeah, there's just, I think I said it either in the T-Dog episode or the Double Impact episode that we recorded where we did like the kind of year reflection on the Wagga Wagga Down Under tour. I think I said in one of those 2 episodes, or maybe both of those episodes, that we're going to do this. And yeah, I don't know if it actually made the cut. I just can't remember if I said it on air, to be honest. But if I did, I'm sorry. Shit happens. Life goes on. If I didn't, then hey, welcome to the brain of a dude with ADHD. But before I fucking fuck around, because this is an hour 47 conversation or an hour 50 conversation, and I've been ranting for 3 or 4 minutes in this intro alone, Miss Nova Lee, would you like to give us the song and match of the week, and we'll explain why. You can introduce our guest, and then we'll get the flock out of here and do the outro.
Okay, easy. So, for episode 116 of CIC, the song of the week is The Vengeful One by Disturbed, and the match of the week is Team Ciampa versus Undisputed Era War Games match. NXT TakeOver War Games 2019.
Which, as you'll hear in this discussion, very early in this discussion, is Mrs Crossfire. Now, you've only seen you've seen some of the older ones from when I've just been watching random stuff, but this was the first ever War Games match that you saw, and you got to watch it live as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, banger. And as we'll talk about in this conversation, when KO came out, the pop, so good. And again, like that whole Survivor Series weekend of the NXT, SmackDown, Raw, just banger after banger after banger, if I can steal a line from Sheamus. But yeah, and obviously the reason I chose the song was just because Avengeful, Avengers, Vengeful, it just popped in my head and it's just stuck. I think people will probably gather that that's the song of the week because every time I've posted something on Instagram to promote it, that's been the song attached to it. I love that you can attach music on Instagram posts now. But yeah, I thought it was a very obvious choice. And obviously, because I picked the song, I said, hey, Mrs. Crossfire, you can pick the match, preferably a War Games match, if not just some sort of Survivor Series big tag team match just because of the subject matter at hand. What are the words? Buy the t-shirt. And you went, well, this is the one that sticks out. This is the War Games match I like. Just go with that. And I was like, okay.
Done.
Didn't even have to think about it.
Easy.
Smashed it out of the park. But if you would like to, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Yep. I accidentally double pumped the button, which I guess was bound to happen because if you listen to this conversation, every time I touch the soundboard in this conversation, I nailed it. So it's only fitting that after the fact, even though you're hearing this first, I botched the soundboard. But Miss Novalee, if you'd like to introduce our guest so that these people could hear this conversation and not listen to me rant about everything.
Okay. Returning for Mark-A-Palooza 9, Avengeful, the one, the only, Mighty Kye!
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with Miss Novalee, and of course, the main guest / co-host of this episode, Mighty Kye, and it has been an absolute fuck around, and I may or may not talk about it in the official intro when we do it. Who knows, I'll probably forget, but my soundboard is fried, and I've just spent 25 minutes trying to fucking sort this shit out, but we got there in the end. I can hear Kye can hear me. Miss Novalee's kind of dying in the background. She got sick. She gave it to me. I had some sort of like bronchitis, borderline pneumonia fucking shit. I felt sicker than I did both times I had COVID. And now I've given it back to Novalee. So if she starts choking, then...
All I can say is, thanks, Sydney, for the fucking AIDS.
Yeah, thanks, Sydney. Thanks, World Series Wrestling. It was a great time, but fuck me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Crossfire both got caught in a crossfire.
What?
Woo!
Full disclosure, we said that before we started recording, but hey, here we are.
I actually surprised for nothing.
Hey, let's not break the fourth wall here.
I mean, I feel like they know that because why
hey,
else?
Babe, brother.
Why else would I press the correct button on the first try?
This is true. Half the time you bunt the romance button.
I could have been like, I mean, it's still fitting, but bro, it's just fuck me. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, we either have a completely smooth podcast or there's 101 things that happen before I hit record. There's no in between. And it's just fucking technology. Like, why did I start a podcast when I can barely write my own name, let alone run a fucking computer?
hey, Shawn Michaels can't run a computer either. So.
And he's running an XT, so he's doing a great job. So, hey, fuck, maybe I could be the next... Hey, I do have a lazy eye. I could be HBK.
HB Crossfire.
HB Sigil. JLC.
Crack.
What? Would you like to specify, because this is an audio-only podcast, what you're referring to?
My coffee.
Okay.
It's a caramel latte, but then I've also put a white chocolate mocha thing in
So
it.
I'm drinking a caramel latte too.
So you have a white choc mocha with a shot of caramel, essentially. So it's essentially a...
Yeah.
Jesus.
And it's really great.
Sounds great.
It's actually really good.
Well, while you're drinking your
I was
liquid
like,
crack...
I need some sugar to boost my moves.
Oh, fuck it. How good does that sound when you just... I got a no sugar monster, but it's the peach flavour. It's literally my favourite flavoured energy drink ever. And I just spilt it all over myself.
Uncle.
I am glad that this is an audio-only podcast, because my Spider-Man shirt, that despite the fact it's an audio-only podcast, I wore a Marvel shirt to be in the fucking spirit, and I am now covered in peach. So we're off to a great start for this episode. But anyway, Kai, how's your day been? How's life? Before we quickly jump into this.
Not too bad. Kind of just living off 4 hours of sleep right now.
Oh, dude, how much sleep did I have?
You probably
last
had
night?
about 4 hours.
Yeah, 3 or 4 hours,
honest.
and I was like fucking dancing in the supermarket and shit.
Do you want to try
I went to bed at like 2 a.m. because I had a coffee before bed. Big regret. And I was like, I just couldn't sleep last night.
Oh, gee. As you were saying that, Mrs. Crossfire's like, no, have a sip of that. Fucking hell, I'm not going to sleep tonight just from that one sip. This episode's going to go off the rails, I can already tell, because Mrs. Crossfire, usually, she's a very slow coffee drinker, and half the time it ends up stone cold, no pun intended, for a wrestling podcast. She has just sculled that whole fucking thing.
Fucking so
and
good.
we're 4 minutes into this conversation, obviously a bit more once we've put the intro and stuff, and it's got a complete episode, but for this portion of it, we're 4 minutes in, and she's just chugged the fuck out of that coffee. So this could go off the rails, ladies and gentlemen, but we're here, we're doing Mark-A-Palooza, we're doing Wrestlers versus Marvel, and straight off the bat, there's about like 4 or 5 matches that we messaged each other going, why didn't we do this?
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, there's already going to be a Wrestlers versus Marvel too, and I think the best way for us to do it is, I think, agree on some sort of main event, and then literally just pick 4 or 5 matches each.
Yeah.
Like, just go both and just say... Because I'm telling you right now, 100%, American Badass Taker is taken because I'm doing him versus Ghost Rider. Like, that has to... Like, how did we not do that?
I don't know.
And then when we put the matches up for, like... It was... What have we got? Is it Silver Surfer versus Sandman? I think it was Sandman, because Kai's just a massive ECW mark, so I threw out Silver Surfer. Kai was like, fuck yeah, Sandman. And it was like, hey, it makes sense. Surfboard, Kane... And then it was Mrs. Crossfire.
Yeah.
Like, a week later going, why didn't you do Sandman versus Sandman? And I was like, fuck. Like, it's the most obvious shit. And then even, like, Ray versus Silver Surfer would have made sense, because Ray's done, like, the full body paint and everything, and he's done multiple versions of a Silver Surfer costume to wrestle in. So I don't know how we didn't do that. Even Ray versus Captain America could have made sense.
We even missed Drax versus Batista.
I feel like that one's kind of... I feel for me, like, and like, you know, I know it's Mark-A-Palooza, but within the realm of trying to do it, I think that's kind of out of the question if you really...
No, it's not. Never out of the question, damn it.
Because then the next minute, you know, like for the wrestler portion, you're just going to have a team of Mankind and Mick Foley and da-da-da-da, and I'm like...
I would.
Hey, they are 3 different people.
Although we have said that if it's a tag match, we can do that. They just can't be used in separate matches. But it's like, oh, Cactus Jack versus Thanos. Dude Love versus fucking...
I still think Cactus Jack would win.
Cactus Jack just pulls out Barbie and Thanos literally just yeets the Infinity Gauntlet.
Shoves it up Thanos' ass.
But yeah, obviously, Mrs. Crossfire has the rules that she's about to go through. But before we do that, we have agreed the main event is a War Games match, which we did book last. So hence why, if you did vote on it, you'll see that some of the competitors got a bit ridiculous, but it was just, we were just having fun with it. But I think, obviously, once we do the intro and all that, we do have a War Games match that will be a match of the week and yada, yada, yada. We don't need to talk about it because it'll be added in post. But just as a question, just to kickstart this guy, what is your all-time favourite War Games match?
Oh, God, there's been a lot. I think all-time favourite would have to be... one where the Undisputed Era took on Pat McAfee and I forgot who else was in it.
Was that the one where like Ricochet was in it and he busted out the fucking double moonsault off the cage and shit?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's the shit right there.
And Pat McAfee in that match was just great.
Yeah, because Pat actually, I don't know if it was the same match or not. I think Ricochet was in that match, but I don't know if that was the one where he did the double flip. But that's where Pat did the swanton off the top of the cage as well.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, that was like Pat, like, without going too far and ranting before we go far, when Pat McAfee came into NXT, both me and Teak or Nova, we fucking hated him so much.
So did I.
And like,
so
honestly, and now you look at it, it's like, that dude worked us like a sumbitch.
That War Games match really changed my perspective of him.
Even the
just to see that he could
singles match that he did with Cole, I don't know if it was like I don't know if it was unsanctioned, but I think it was like a no holds barred or street fight or some shit. But
now look at Pat; he's fucking great on commentary with Michael Cole,
making Michael Cole pop on the weekly, which is awesome. And I guess it's part of the whole new regime that we're in. But
yeah, it's pretty weird when you look at it because it went to the point where I hated him coming in, and then when he was gone for that little bit of time because he was off doing NFL stuff, I was like, where the fuck is he? I miss him.
Yeah, we were doing the college football. We were literally counting the weeks down to, because, hey, shout out Georgia Bulldogs. Oof, oof, we won the Orange Bowl, which is awesome. But I was like, Pat, just come back. You don't need to call that. But I think, and then this is where I'm probably going to get heat for me because, and you probably will too, because it's like a modern era and everyone's like, War Games ain't what it used to be. Like, I love the War Games matches where Dusty Rhodes was in and Dustin Rhodes even, where he's the natural and he's bleeding, and a young, stunning Steve Austin, but like the Four Horsemen and Sting and all them, like that, they were great War Games matches, absolutely built a foundation. But for me, the first ever War Games match in NXT in 2018, where they actually did the triple threat, where it was 3 versus 3 versus 3, where it was the Undisputed Era of Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly. Fuck Bobby Fish. Anyway, it was Sanity, so that's Eric Young, Killian Dane, and was it Alexander Wolf? Was that his name?
I think that was his name.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel fucking terrible. I couldn't think of his name. And then it was against
AOP
and Roderick Strong before Roderick would eventually join Undisputed the year after. But yeah, it was 3 versus 3 versus 3, and it was just fucking nuts. Like, absolutely belter match. That's my personal favorite War Games match. What about you, Mrs Crossfire? And it's probably going to be a spoiler. Not really a spoiler because I've heard of it at this point, but I didn't want to...
Hold on. Yeah.
It was NXT War Games 2019, I think it was. It was one of my first ones that I ever saw. So I really liked it.
While Mighty Kye is busy, we'll just talk about that. Yeah, that is the one that we've picked for the match of the week. By the time this is out and we've put it together, it was the Team Ciampa versus Undisputed Era. And
that was solid.
Absolute belter. And obviously by that point, Roderick Strong was part of the Undisputed Era, and Kevin Owens is the mystery man. Fucking chef's kiss. And that was the same, like, I think that was the same Survivor Series weekend where they actually did SmackDown, Raw, and NXT against each other, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's probably
that
one of my
was
favorites.
First Survivor Series, yeah.
Probably one of my favorite first, like, it was my first Survivor Series, but one of my favorites because they had NXT invade as well. Like,
And we weren't going to harp on it too much because we're going to do the intro, but Mighty Kye was busy, so we just filled that in. But yeah, that was a banger of a fucking... And the thing is, like, KO is such a thing when it comes to details, and he came out, like, wearing the original NXT version, like, of his T-shirt and everything. Had the NXT tag on the bottom, like...
The duct tape shirt.
Just fucking... Oh, so good. I'm glad that they brought back a version of that. But yeah, I think for me, 2018 for me... And the funny thing is, the one that Kai said, I think, was it 2020 or 2021? It was during the pandemic, so we're literally almost going through the years.
Yeah.
going through the years here. We've essentially gone backwards because Kai said his, I said mine, and then you said yours. So I think we've gone 2019, 18. I think it was 2020. It may have been 2021. Some neckbeard will fucking scream at me because I'm wrong. Sorry, I have ADHD. But Miss Novalee, if you'd like to read through the rules of this episode so we can get this rolling, because this is going to...
One second. I just got to go get a drink of water. I'll be right back.
While Kai is doing a drink of water, we'll have Miss Novalee read through the rules here.
Okay. So, for the Mark-A-Palooza, number 9, Avengeful the rules are, the theme is wrestlers versus Marvel. Kye and John will take turns at naming a Marvel character / wrestler. Kye, being the guest, will start it off with a Marvel character. John will pair with a wrestler, and then John picks a Marvel character, and then Kye will pair with a wrestler, etc. This will continue until we have 9 matches. There will also be a War Games match in the main event where we will actually pick both teams together. We'll team up together and pick both teams.
Because usually, obviously, as you said, we go back and forth. But no, we went back and forth with the teams. And it's worth noting here, Miss Novalee, you technically did pick some of these people.
Yes.
There we go. We were just reading through the rules while you were gone, Kye. So just to kind of help the listeners through. So that's all good. We thought we'd spill the space. But I kind of, with some of those, Kye'd throw me a Marvel character, and I'd kind of go, hey, Mrs. Crossfire, here's, 3 or 4 wrestlers. Pick one. And there was even one where we started, and you were like, can I just do it? And I think I think Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, you just went, bang. And it was just like, okay, your pick, whatever, fucking sure. But yeah, continue the rules.
So similar to the prior Mark-A-Palooza episode, we'll both book the matches in their own respective order and then discuss on air to lock in the final order, booking it like a real card. The final card will be 2 pre-show matches, and then the remaining 8 will obviously be the main card. War Games is locked in as our main event. We will book the War Games last, just to shake it up with selections.
And as mentioned, that's why some of these competitors in the War Games match got a little bit silly, but hey, fuck it, it's Mark-A-Palooza.
And then the matches will be posted on social media, which we previously have done, for fan voting. We can't share our own vote until on air whilst recording.
I learned that lesson this time.
Once a wrestler or Marvel character has been used in a match, they can't be picked again. This is especially for wrestlers who have multiple gimmicks. Once they're used, that person is out completely. As always, the most important rule, have fun.
I will say, though, and I'm going to call Miss Novalee out here on the pod, Kye messaged me and he's like, Mrs. Crossfire's fucking cheating. She just voted for all the Marvel characters.
Hey, I voted for some that were worthy wrestlers. I was just voting mainly. I was just voting mainly for the ones that I picked,
I said that she was being more biased in an Ashley Klein game.
But I will say, though, usually we have people like they'll vote for some or whatever. There was only, of all the votes we got, there was only 2 matches where one person that voted didn't vote on 2 of them. So I think all up, all of the matches had 13 votes, and then there was 2 that had 12. I think the War Games might have had extra, or it might have been one of the others, but one of them randomly had extra, which is to be expected. But for the most part, everyone that voted, because I kept saying, please, if you're going to vote on all of them just to keep it kind of, even. But yeah, some of these have been landslides, so me and Kye and now Novalee are going to have to pull some shit out of her ass.
All I want to say, too, is I'm more biased than an Ashley Klein game when it comes to the Panthers, because it goes for the Panthers.
He didn't say Panthers, but that's literally what Kye said.
Yeah, he said
He said in the message that he sent me.
Yeah.
He said Novalee is being more biased than Ashley Klein by picking all the Marvel characters.
And it's like, it's Ashley Klein in a Panthers game to make it even more biased.
I want to hope he's not fucking refereeing the Broncos game tomorrow. Or
I hate that
game. Why is he reffing State of Origin? That's so annoying.
Like, they made such a big deal that he reffed game 1, and now it's just like, have him ref all 3 games. And fucking...
I don't want to see that dude's bald head anymore. It's too shiny.
But Stone Cold bald head, that's a whole nother story.
Hey. Stone Cold is the GOAT.
I'm still
Ashley
very
Klein
proud. And
it's just bald.
And obviously people wouldn't have seen this unless they've got me and Kye on our personal socials. But following on from Stone Cold Steve Keiston, I did Kye Hendry, as in Joe Hendry, and then I did a couple ones where I did Goldberg, and I think I did Damien Sandow just as a joke because I was like, you're welcome. But one of the ones I did you as Ashley Klein, and you were just like, motherfucker.
I'm traumatized.
It's like, Kye Klein isn't real. Therapist.
He can't hit you.
Yeah, I'm still my therapist.
But what I'll do is, again, You don't have to go full ring announcer because you have a sore throat.
Yeah, I'm dead.
But just read through the matches we've made in order without reading the votes just yet. And I will say, Kai, before Nova Lee does this, my paper is so fucking messy because, like, usually I write down the votes. Like, I always have them on my phone, but I don't put them to paper until, like, we're doing them. And I'm like, fuck, I always get flustered. So I'll write them down. And then somewhere between my ADHD, I went, I'm going to write them on my paper just in the order we made them. And then it was like I started tallying them up in the order that I put them in. So now it's in this really fucked up order. So what I've done is now I did all of that in blue pen. So now once we lock in the final order, I'm going to do that with black pen and then go up to where the tallies are. And then I can at least mark it with a different coloured pen and say that, okay, this is match such and such now, so that when I am jumping around, hopefully it's not as fucking chaotic, because I tried to avoid being chaotic and somehow made it more chaotic, but fuck my life, I guess.
You should see my diary, honestly. Like, the first day when we started putting all this together, it's just 2 pages of just edits, and it's just all over the place. And then I had to do my last-minute final changes, and I was like, why didn't I just do this on that day? It took me, like, literally 20 minutes.
But yeah, we just
got lazy.
Read through the order of the matches we have, Mr. Crossfire, without revealing the votes on the end of them.
Okay, so we've got Loki versus the Boogeyman, Silver Surfer versus the Sandman, Mr. Fantastic versus Rob Van Dam,
Banger.
Captain Marvel versus Mercedes Monet,
CEO.
Deadpool versus Orange Cassidy. I picked Orange Cassidy. Elektra and Rogue versus Enzo and Big Cass. The Thing versus Batista.
I walk alone.
Luke Cage and Jessica Jones versus Sean Spears and Peyton Royce.
And you know what? Congratulations to them. They're never going to hear this, and that's fine. But I do have people from the Oz wrestling community that actually listen to my show that actually do know them. So if someone wants to just pass along this Mark's congratulations to them for their second child, for whatever the fuck that's worth, then hey, that'd be awesome.
And then the next one is Thor, Jane versus Rhea Ripley.
From WrestleMania 36 in the Vegeta gear.
Yes.
Mrs.
Because I
Crossfire's
said it had to be the Vegeta gear. And then the next one was Captain America, Spider-Ham, Nick Fury, Daredevil, and Hulk versus Zach, is it Gowan?
Zach Gowan.
Cowan.
The first ever one-legged wrestler.
Maven.
Got fucked up by Lesnar.
Maven, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Brock Lesnar, and
the
Joe
same
Hendry.
person that fucking brutalized him? That's shenanigans as it is. They're locked in a cage.
And that one was the War Games Avengers versus Avengers.
And of course, sorry, I just all over the place, but the last person on the wrestlers team is I believe in Joe Hendry.
You're welcome.
And honestly, so like, just spoiler alert, because fuck it, like, that's one that is a landslide, and I think it's because Joe Hendry was on the wrestler's side.
My bad. I wanted him on there, right?
But what a fucking the funny thing is, though, is like fucking as much of a misfit bunch of teams as those are, they actually make so much sense. Because Hacksaw has the 2x4, can combat Captain America's shield. They're both USA. Brock Lesnar, Hulk, Spider-Ham, Maven, Zach Gowan, Nick Fury.
How is Maven and Spider-Ham alike?
Or maybe I should say Spider-Ham and Zach Gowan because of the comedic relief. And then, like, you'd have Maven because he's the leader. His career is the greatest career of all time if you watched his YouTube video. So he's obviously the leader of the team along with Nick Fury.
At the same time, I could see Joe Hendry ripping a song about Spider-Ham, though. So, I could see that happening.
I'm just going to die on air here, and I'm sorry. But yeah, Pretty fucking weird. Like, of all the wrestlers that have been left off this card, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Undertaker and Kane, but we're trying not to, like, always go the same ones, like, all the time.
Yeah, try and change it up a bit.
Like, I almost wanted to do John Cena versus Captain America as well, but it was just like, like, we're just going to have like a fucking 20-match card if we do all of these fucking matches. Like,
why didn't I think of it? Captain America, Mr. America.
Brother!
Brother.
I am not Hulk Hogan, brother! But Hulk Hogan is a good brother! Oh, fuck me. How cool is it, though, that they've made a Mr. America Funko Pop? Like,
God.
Like, Terry Bollea as a person is a piece of shit, but I kind of want it. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Alright. I think we're 22 minutes in, 23 minutes in before we've even done the intro. Miss Novalee, finish your thought.
I was just thinking, like, you could have had... I know I love Rob Van Dam and, like, fantastic, but you could have went with Mr. Perfect as well.
Mr. Fantastic versus Mr. Perfect.
Yes.
Ooh.
That would have been cool.
Hey, you got Mr. 420 versus Mr. Fantastic, so...
It's still pretty cool.
But, as always, we'll start kind of rattling through, like, what we've got, and then we'll come back to it. So, where did you go? What have you got for pre-show match number 1 on your end? We'll just rapid fire through these back and forth, and as always, any that are the same get locked in, and then we'll get into the debating and having some fun. So, what do you got for the first pre-show match, Kai?
Boogeyman versus Loki.
Okay, interesting. I can understand that. So, my first pre-show match was actually Luke Cage and Jessica Jones versus Shawn Spears and Peyton. Sorry, Shawn Spears.
I had that later in the card because I don't want to get chopped by Shawn Spears for one, because I've seen him chop Chris Danger and fucking hell, he left a mark on his chest.
I thought you were about to say Chris Van Vliet, because fucking Spears and Breeze destroyed him at their training school.
Plus, I also don't want to get hit by a champ by Shawn Spears either, so I've got him a little bit further down the card just to avoid him, not coming after me.
No, that's fair. Pre-show match 2, what have you got, Kai?
For that one, I have Captain Marvel versus Mercedes.
See, this is where Kai's going to get heat with me, because I actually did Silver Surfer versus the Sandman. I put the Sandman on the pre-show. I'm sorry.
I put him on the opener.
Yeah, what did you have for your opener of the main card?
That was the Sandman versus Silver Surfer.
So my opener was Deadpool versus Orange Cassidy. Because I feel like both guys, they're going to get the crowd going. They're going to do some funny shit. But then once that match gets about to the halfway point, they're going to start beating the fuck out of each other.
That's who you could have had 2 for there. Danhausen versus
I think Danhausen was one that I threw out. I think I was like Danhausen.
And then I said Orange Cassidy.
Actually,
like, Orange Cassidy, let's go.
Actually, I think the 3 I gave you were Danhausen, Orange Cassidy, and Joe Hendry. I think.
Yeah, and
there may have been a 4th. I can't remember.
I know you couldn't think of a 3rd, and then I was like Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, again, I'm dying on this podcast. I'm sorry, it is what it is. But yeah, my opener was Deadpool versus Orange Cassidy. So match 4, aka match 2 on the main card. What did you have?
That was Deadpool and Orange Cassidy.
Okay. So match 2 on the main card is where I had Captain Marvel versus Mercedes. Match 3 on your main card?
I had Elektra and Rogue versus Enzo and Cass.
That's where I actually had my Loki and Boogeyman match.
Oh, damn it. This is what I messaged you about the other day. We're going to have a different card.
But that's the whole point. If we have any that are the same, we'll lock them in and then we can debate and flip around. And all right, what'd you have after that?
I had the Thing versus Batista.
Okay, so we've gone completely different because you had the Big Bean and Man Slapping Meat. That's where I had Mr. Fantastic and RVD doing all their fucking flippy-doos.
Right.
So what's the match after that?
That's where I had Luke Cage and Jessica Jones versus Shawn Spears and Peyton Royce. Or Cassie Lee. I think that's her name now.
I put her as Peyton just because it was easier to find a Peyton fucking render.
Yeah.
But this is where I had the Mighty Thor versus Rhea Ripley. And then obviously your next match is going to be different to one that I've got because you had the different ones. But what did you have for your second last match? Or the third last match, rather?
That's where I had Rhea Ripley's match with the Mighty Thor.
And that's where I had Elektra and Rogue versus Enzo and Cass. And then what did you have for the second last match before the War Games?
Mr. Fantastic versus RVD.
See, and that's where I had the Thing versus Batista. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
It's going off the rails.
So, honestly, what did you say you had again for your second match? Was Deadpool versus Orange?
On the main card, yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to say match number 2 on the main card is Deadpool and Orange. It's only one further down than what I had.
Okay.
So
it's only just because my opener match has a stipulation to it. So I thought if I put Deadpool and Orange Cassidy underneath it, where I don't have a stipulation for it, but it'll still be a fucking banger match.
See, now that I'm looking at this though, again, this is where the discussion and the marking, and feel free to jump in when you want, Nova Lee.
Yeah.
But now that I'm looking at this and hearing your reasonings, I'm kind of wanting to change mine around, and I kind of want to put either RVD and Fantastic as the opener, or Thing and Batista as the opener, just to have some sort of... Let's go back up to the pre-show. What did you say you had for your first pre-show match?
I had Boogeyman and Loki.
You know what? I'm going to lock that in. The first match on the pre-show, Boogeyman versus Loki, Loki versus Boogeyman.
Just because Boogeyman gives me fucking nightmares and I don't want to see him on the main card.
Got to have time to get those fucking worms out of the ring before the main show.
Just piss off. Go away.
Alright, so match 2 on the pre-show. I had Silver Surfer versus Sandman. I've already forgotten what you said because ADHD.
Yeah, I've got Mercedes and Captain Marvel for that one.
See, I really think, as much as people are shitting on Mercedes, I'm still a massive fan. And this did become a landslide, but I feel like that should be on the main card, but I don't know.
I just wonder how much Tony's forcing her to say that catchphrase. Giving her that $1 million a week.
Honestly, looking at this now, I kind of want to throw Enzo and Cass on the pre-show just to follow this up.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Yeah, Elektra and Rogue, who were way down the bottom of my main card, have now been demoted. Or maybe they've been promoted. Who knows?
They're halfway down my card. They've been demoted completely. Damn.
So now, here we go to the opener. As I said, I had Deadpool versus Orange. We've locked that in for match 2 now. What did you say you had?
I had Sandman Silver Surfer.
You know what? Actually, I'm happy with that. Let's go. Silver Surfer versus Sandman.
Plus, the crowd's going to be pretty hot when Sandman comes through the crowd and singing Enter Sandman.
And here in Mark-A-Palooza land, we have an unlimited budget, so you can best believe you're going to hear down, 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 down.
And
it's going to be like a mixture of actual humans and then just all the aliens from Marvel outer space just fucking going nuts.
Sandman will still be walking through the crowd, just smashing beers down, smoking Dories.
So now we come down to match 3 on the main card because we've locked in Orange and Deadpool at number 2. Again, that's where I originally had Loki versus Boogeyman. What did you say you had there?
That's where I originally had Elektra and Rogue versus Cass and Enzo.
Okay, so we have Mr. Fantastic versus RVD, Thor versus Rhea, and... Wait, where are we at?
Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and all that, and Sean Spears, and...
Oh, and Mercedes versus...
Yeah,
Marvel.
Okay, let's put... Do you want to put
Mercedes and Marvel? Yep.
Yeah, under Deadpool and Cassidy.
Captain
Get that out of the way.
Marvel. I'm just going to go on record, right? And I know Kye's not the biggest fan, but I genuinely think that Mercedes Moné is the greatest women's wrestler of all time, and the fact that she has flopped as hard as she has is just fucking proof of TK's booking.
Yeah, because he killed the character before he even died.
Yes, her promos have been
it.
kind of redundant, and this is where maybe having people somewhat script have been helping. And you're like, oh, well, that's on her for not being creative. But it's you can only say the same thing in so many different ways before it gets boring. But at the same time, that's kind of what she's been given is da-da-da-da.
And Eric Bischoff even said that Tony didn't even build her up. So before she even had her first match, the character was dead.
Because the moment she signed, everyone's like, she's not worth that money. And I'm like,
nope.
Okay, but WWE did try and fucking give her the same amount of money. Like, AEW gave more money than what WWE originally offered, fair enough, but WWE still offered her a massive fucking chunk to come back. Like, you got to think.
Maybe they just didn't offer a blow like Tony Khan did, so...
But you got to think, though, like, she was one of Triple H's girls, and she was one of Triple H's girls for a reason. Like, anyway, that's just me. I think she's a tremendous fucking athlete. I think she's a great professional wrestler, and I just think it's a real shame that she's just fucking going down the toilet.
Great wrestler, shit at promos.
Like, this past week, and, like, this is going out on Sunday, in 2 days as we record this, right? They did the Mariah May finally turning on Toni Storm. Left Toni Storm in a pool of her own blood, absolutely battered her with a shoe.
That's not where the best wrestle, Tony. That's not wrestling. That's trying to publicly execute someone.
But, like, it was done so brilliantly. It was honestly, it was phenomenal. It main evented the show, rightfully so.
It's where the best wrestler.
But why? Why did it take 5 years for Tony Khan to finally book a worthy woman's storyline?
Well, that's what happens when you snort a lot of cocaine.
Like, one of Mrs Crossfire's favourites is Britt Baker. And she did get featured very heavily in the pandemic, and she had some great matches. But do you remember any proper storylines? Like, what did Britt Baker do?
Like, Cole? No.
Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's literally taken AEW 5 years to have a halfway decent woman's storyline. And it's nothing on the talent. Like, people like Chris Statlander, Rio. I'm not a big fan of her, but like she's killed it. Hikaru Shida, again, not a big fan, but you know, her booking in terms of matches was great. But where was anything that really made me care about her?
I'm just going to cut you off right here and just say that half the women that you just mentioned, I have no idea who the fuck they are.
But that's again because they're putting on great matches, which is great. But if they're not giving a story to draw you in, what is the point? Like, that's just me, right? That's just me. I'm sorry, but if there's no story, it's not worth it.
I'm just not interested in Tony's product. I just don't like his product.
This wasn't meant to turn into an AEW bitch fest, but like, how the fuck do you drop the ball with Mercedes? I don't understand.
North Line.
But we gave her the title, brother. We gave her the title. Yeah, cool. What does that title mean? Fucking Jade Cargill made that title mean more.
What they did was they killed the character before she aired, and then tried to shove it down people's throats by giving her the title. And now they're trying to do it again by giving her a second title. I'm not saying she's not worthy of 2 titles. I'm just saying that he's trying to shove her down people's throats.
What I do love, though, is Stephanie, how do you pronounce her last name? Is it Vaca?
Volga?
Something like that. Anyway, the fact that she wrestled Mercedes at Forbidden Door, WWE signed her straight after, and everyone's like, "Oh, yes, you're welcome, Hunter. You should be thanking Tony. You should be sending him a check for giving him your new talent." It's like, why didn't Tony sign it?
Hunter. Tony should be thanking Hunter because half his roster is built up of ex-WWE people, so fucking suck on that, you dumb AEW mark.
This is the thing, I'm a fan of a lot of people in the AEW locker room, right? Their booking and like stories just don't really do much for me. So I do keep up with what's happening, but I'm a very casual watcher. All of these
keep up with Christian.
I fucking love Christian. All these tribalists though, that are like, Triple H needs to thank Tony Khan, should be giving him money for giving him that signing. Why didn't TK sign her then? She was literally in his ring. Why did he not try and sign her?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, maybe WWE just offered her more money, but okay, if you thought she was that good to have her in your ring on Forbidden Door, why didn't you sign her?
Yeah.
Like,
he's got his daddy's money, why didn't he just chuck some more on her?
But Triple H should be thanking Tony Khan, otherwise he would. Like, fuck off. She was in Tony Khan's ring. She was on Tony Khan's pay-per-view. Tony Khan could have had her, and somehow he blew his shot. That's all I'm saying.
Tony Khan should be thanking Nick Khan for all the talent that he's given her.
Anyway.
Tony wouldn't be in business if those WWE releases didn't happen.
I just remembered
Just
a
saying.
storyline that I liked from the females.
Give me a storyline that you liked before we move back to
Okay.
this card. Otherwise, this is going to turn into an hour of just burying AEW.
It was
essentially.
literally not really much of a storyline, but it was Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero.
But again, Nyla Rose was probably one of the only female competitors that was starting to get built up, and then for whatever reason, it was just, oh, I'm done playing with you, next.
Yeah.
Okay.
He seems like a little kid that has like all these little
It's
action
re-
figures. And
so
it's
many
like,
people-
I want to play with
so
you.
many people have used-
I'm sick of you now.
So many people have used that comparison, and it's true, and it's literally
it's me a Toy Story.
they're real-life action figures. Like, I could go open my box, and I couldn't tell you who my champions were from 10 years ago, and I'd be like, okay, this guy's the champ now. And then I'll put them back in my box for another 10 years and be like, okay, this guy's the champ now. Like, that's literally what it's like, and I'm just like, bro, if you don't care, why should
you need
I?
more Ashton figures.
But anyway, we should get back to this, otherwise we're just going to shit on AEW. And like, I'm not trying to bury him. Like, I'm really
I
not. Just do better, Tony Khan. Please. That's all I'm asking, please. Friend to friend.
Yeah, shut your business down. You're done.
So much
Pack
good
it up,
talent,
Tony.
so many great wrestlers, and they're just...
Pack it up, Tony. You're done.
Hire Eric Bischoff. Fuck's sake. Bischoff even offered to help for free, and Tony Khan was still like, hey, fuck you, you killed WCW. Anyway, so far, on the pre-show, we have Loki and Boogeyman. We have Electro and Rogue versus Enzo and Big Cass. I have written Electro and Rogue versus Boogeyman. I've written Boogeyman twice. Gonna scratch that out.
He's coming to get them.
/ Cass. Boogeyman just does a run into the second. Okay, no. Silver Surfer and Sandman's the opener. Deadpool and Orange Cassidy, number 2. Captain Marvel versus Mercedes Moné, number 3. What have you got at number 4?
I had the Thing versus Batista.
Okay, so this is where I had RVD. This is versus Mr. Fantastic. So I
You know
think...
what? Let's swap RVD and Mr. Fantastic. I say let's do that. Let's put RVD and Mr. Fantastic in this slot.
Excellent. I thought we were about to have our first coin flip, which is pretty much the only reason Nova Lee's here, because she's dying and originally wasn't even going to jump on.
I look at it and I thought, you know what? Let's get all the high-flying shit out of the way. And we can have the big, meaty men slap each other around a bit later.
I still just think that like having the Thing versus Batista as almost like a double main event as a precursor to the
that'd be
War
so
Games
good.
is just like... I just, for me, I think that's just where it is. But anyway, match number 7 / match number 5 on the main card. Where are we at?
This is where I had Luke Cage and Jessica Jones versus Sean Spears and Peyton Royce.
So that's where I had Thor versus Rhea, but I'm happy to do Luke and Jess versus...
We can swap them around. I don't mind.
It's up to you. We can flip a coin. You can call it, but I'm happy to go with you and say Luke Cage.
All right, let's flip a coin.
Flip a coin.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you cheering for here?
I'm gonna go head this time. I
Okay.
went tails last time.
But what's this for? Which match is this? Was this for Thor and Rhea for you?
This would be Sean Spears and Peyton Royce.
Oh no, that's okay. We don't need to flip a coin. I'm agreeing with you on this. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying let's put this in.
Oh, okay, then
I'm flipping it.
screw the coin then. Throw the coin at someone.
Don't you
I don't
dare
know.
say me, I'll fight you.
The funny thing is, I'll just. Oh, it's not picking up the sound because my Bluetooth's connected to Kai's call. Son of a bitch.
Oh no!
I was gonna be like ting, but basically the coin is actually on my phone, so I'm just gonna have to yeet my phone at my wife and hope the call doesn't disconnect.
If you do that, you're in the doghouse. It's not my fault.
Or I have a seizure because my brain's fried.
Yeah, let's not and say we did. All right, so I think we'll go. What we say, Luke and Jess. Jesus fucking Christ, I can't read my own writing. Versus Sean / Peyton. That leaves Thor and Rhea, and then the Thing and Batista. So I think do we go Thor and Rhea after
Yeah.
this?
Yes.
And then big meaty man, semi-main event.
It's technically a triple main event, I reckon.
Well, honestly, like without giving, because I already fucking
Rhea and
spoiled
Thor
the
would be
actual main
fucking
event.
awesome.
The Rhea and Thor match was a landslide, but in theory,
Yeah.
it's like a Brock Lesnar Goldberg type matchup of meaty women.
Yeah.
Meaty women slapping breasts, as Big E would say. I can't get cancelled because that's the exact quote that he said. So, fuck y'all. Okay, Thor versus Rhea. Thing versus Batista, and then the main event, obviously, Team Wrestlers versus Team Marvel. So,
War game.
War game! I should have downloaded a soundbite of William Regal doing that, because I can't be fucked to edit it in post, but do you want to give me your best War Games, Novalee?
I'll try with this fucked up fucking voice.
He usually does it right.
War games!
I mean, considering you've got a sore throat, that was actually pretty decent. But from the top, we have 2 pre-show matches of Loki versus the Boogeyman, Elektra and Rogue versus Enzo and Cass. How you doing? And then the main card, we open Silver Surfer versus Sandman. Then we got Deadpool versus Orange Cassidy, Captain Marvel versus Mercedes Moné, Mr. Fantastic versus Rob Van Dam, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones versus Shawn Spears and Peyton Royce, the Mighty Thor versus Rhea Ripley. And then we have The Thing versus Batista, big meaty men slapping meat, or I guess slapping boulders. Because, The Thing's made of rocks and Batista's fucking got massive boulder shoulders, especially
That's a nice boulder.
Especially the 05 render that I used of him. And then, as Miss Novalee said, War Games! Team Wrestlers versus Team Marvel, which was Captain America Spider-Ham, a.k.a. Peter Porker, Nick Fury, Daredevil, and the Incredible Hulk versus Zach Gowen, Maven, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Brock Lesnar, and I Believe in Joe Hendry. What a fucking mix. Before we get into the votes and everything, are there any stipulations? And I know you said you had one in mind for the opener, but any specific stipulations for any of these matches? I don't think the pre-show matches need stipulations. They're kind of built among character work, but what was the stipulation you had in mind here?
I had a stipulation for the Sandman and Silver Surfer. It can't be a Sandman match without, obviously, some ECW violence. So I've got those two fighting inside a Extreme Rules match.
I can dig that. Extreme Rules. Let's start Mark-A-Palooza off with some absolute fuckery. We ain't called this Extreme Rules.
Again, it can't be.
This ain't Extreme Rules, guy. It's hardcore. It's not extreme. It's hardcore. Okay, so a hardcore match for Silver Surfer versus the Sandman. Deadpool and Orange Cassidy definitely doesn't need one. Mercedes and Captain Marvel doesn't really need one. See, Mr. Fantastic versus RVD, you don't really need one either, but because it's a super show, you could give one, like a ladder match or something crazy, but I don't know. I don't think it really...
I didn't really... The opener was the only one I could think of that needed a stipulation just because of, the participants. I just didn't think anything else needed anything.
You think it should be TLC? Mm-hmm. You want it to be a TLC?
I reckon it should be TLC. That'd be sick.
TLC, or do we just go plain ladder?
I was thinking TLC because I wanted some tables.
Because I feel like with a ladder match, RVD's still going to bring in a chair and shit anyway, but... So you're saying TLC? I
want them to come off a ladder and fall into a table.
Could you imagine, Mr. Fantastic, obviously, you'd assume that for the most part their superpowers would be somewhat nullified, just to make it an even match. But obviously we've got two flexible dudes, but could you imagine, RVD, just flying off the ladder and Mr. Fantastic, just stretching himself and just stopping himself and literally just watches RVD fall through the table in front of him and just goes, ha ha, sucker. It's just
or Mr. Fantastic makes himself the table and all mate falls through him.
Or alternatively, RVD
I am not
RVD tying Mr. Fantastic in a ball on the top of the ladder and then just yeeting him through a table off the just throwing the ladder. So you think you say? Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's not a bad idea. Like I think it could work. I think it works either way. What do you think, Kai? Do you think normal match, TLC match, something different? What do you think?
So I just want normal, but if you guys want to throw in TLC, sure, let's throw in TLC.
Should we flip for this?
Nah.
We can flip if you want. It's up to
Nah.
you.
We'll throw in TLC.
TLC? Okay.
Let's make it interesting.
I got way too excited about that.
Okay, so Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. I don't think that needs a stipulation. It's a mixed tag, so you know it is what it is. So Thor versus Rhea. I don't think that needs a stipulation. They should go like some sort of stupid fucking hammer on a pole or some shit. Is Rhea Ripley worthy?
Well, I mean, she's in the fucking Dragon Ball Z fucking gear, so...
I don't think Vegeta would be worthy, though. Like, see, Kai's not a Dragon Ball fan, so when we do eventually do the Dragon Ball app of Mark-A-Palooza, it won't be Kai on the episode, but Vegeta, for all the good he's done, he's still an asshole.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd be pure enough to hoist Mjolnir, but having like a Mjolnir on a pole match is kind of funny to me, but I think...
I was thinking like...
Maybe just leave it normal.
I was going to say it's probably too over the top, but no, I can't even say it right.
Meow meow, as Kat Dennings calls
Meow
it.
meow.
Meow meow.
Meow meow on the top of a cage. Cage match.
Well, but we've already got the War Games cage hanging about.
Oh, yeah, true. Could just reuse it.
Just repurpose the cage.
Fuck yeah.
What in the WCW?
Wrestling.
No, I think
Yeah.
this needs
Just
to be a
keep
normal
it plain,
match.
yeah, don't
and
overdo it.
I think the same for Thing versus Batista as well. I think they could kind of
Yeah.
brawl around the ringside and stuff, but I think just at the end of the day,
we just call it a nice boulder match. That's a nice boulder.
a boulder match. Ah, Jesus fucking Christ! I tell you what, that's probably the longest that a can of Monster or any energy drink of any kind has lasted for me on one of these episodes.
And then it's the quickest I've drank my coffee.
Like we're at the 50-minute mark. Obviously, once people listen to this, it'll be a bit further because like we've put the intro and stuff in. But it took me 50 minutes to drink a can of Monster.
This is wild.
Wash it down with some high quality H2O. Okay, so we have a hardcore match in the official opening match to the main card. Hashtag what are words. Buy the t-shirt on my pro wrestling tees. Anyway, a hardcore match, brother, between Silver Surfer and Sandman. We got a TLC match between Mr. Fantastic and Rob Van Dam. Mm-hmm. And obviously our main event is a War Games match. So we got 3 stipulation matches on a 10-match card if you count the 2 matches on the pre-show. I feel like honestly that's
pretty good.
That's pretty solid, honestly. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Okay. So match 1 was Loki and the Boogeyman. Who was your vote in this match, Kai?
I had Boogeyman winning this match.
Oop. God damn it. Boogeyman winning this match.
Yeah, after he uses the worms as a distraction. That's literally what I've written down.
I originally went Boogeyman as well.
I think I went Loki.
I can't remember. I think you just went with all the things, but
No,
the thing
I
is,
did do some that were wrestlers.
Did it? I looked.
I did! I totally did.
You call me a liar? I ain't calling you a truther.
I need to check this.
Calling you a
So
truther.
basically, the thing is, like, I agree with you on Boogeyman. Because, like, as I love Loki, but I'm like, I feel like with shenanigans, and obviously, again, this is all fucking hypothetical and shit, right? But if you're in some sort of, like, arena that kind of has, like, some sort of force field that kind of nullifies Loki's magic to an extent, right? I feel like it gives Boogeyman kind of the home turf advantage. But the issue with this is, the votes are currently sitting at 7-5. So if me and you both say...
Aha!
Me and you both say Boogeyman... That's 7-7. So,
I went for 2 wrestlers, thank you.
okay, but who did you...
Hang on, I'm fact checking this right now.
But that puts this match at 7-7. So, Mrs. Crossfire,
that's one.
you voted for Loki, yes? For this match.
Yes.
So now, do we then flip a coin, or in the first match of this card, Does Sean finally get his draw?
Or I can just let
In the
him have
first
his
match
draw.
of the pre-show, are we having a
finally
draw?
have his draw.
Are Loki and Boogeyman just going to pull that much clusterfuckery that the ref just throws this shit out?
It's a trickery match.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. This is a draw.
From all the bullshit and trickery.
And he's probably
That's
not
okay.
even. He's probably not even going to listen to this whole episode just because like he gets distracted with it if he doesn't have video attached, which I get. 100%. I understand it. Like he still contributes a lot to this podcast for a dude that like I don't know. I don't think you've actually like talked to Sean before, Kai, but he's from Canada. He's a mad wrestling fan. He's like 12 years older than me, but I've known him for like fucking 14 years now. He's listened to probably maybe 2 episodes of the pod, but he's like contributed to probably like 80% of the episodes, and he's contributed to 100% of the Mark-A-Palooza so far. And every one, and I think this is the first one, unless I've missed it, where he hasn't voted, because everyone, he's voted for everything, and everyone...
He gave up.
So did he not vote on this one at all?
I don't think he did.
That's hilarious. The one
time.
time that he didn't vote, we have a draw.
I think he saw Batista's photo
Yeah.
and was like, I quit.
He didn't,
Yes.
He didn't vote.
Yes, Sean unfortunately had
As
a
far
very
as
bad
I know,
experience
yeah.
with Batista. He calls him Bootista because he had a really bad experience when he met him in Canada, which really sucks because I'm a very big fan of Batista, but had kind of almost like an experience like I had with Carlito, unfortunately. But yeah, Sean didn't vote on this one, so there we go. It hasn't been 100% of Mark-A-Paloozas now. Does that make it 90% or 99%?
The streak.
The
is
streak
over.
is over! But in our first match here on this card, on the pre-show, Loki and Boogeyman go to a draw. And the second match here on the pre-show is Elektra and Rogue versus Enzo and Cass.
Okay.
So who did you vote for this one?
Yeah. See, how am I gonna explain this?
Almost
I've
the
written
battle of the sexes here too, by the way. Completely unintentional.
What I've written down here is Big Cass turns heel mid-match, goes rogue, booting everyone in the face,
Pun not
and the
intended.
match ends in a no contest.
Okay, yeah. So I actually did vote for Enzo and Cass, just because I'm thinking like we all saw like Enzo was heel and Cass I'm not going to go on too much of a rant, but like when they first
Damn right.
when they
I
first
get it.
had Cass turn heel on Enzo, I feel like that was the wrong decision and it should have been the other way around because we all saw when Enzo did turn heel later on that it was phenomenal. But I originally, in my mind, I voted saying that Enzo and Cass win here via Enzo and Cass being heels together. However, the votes are currently at 9-4. So if you're saying a no contest or a draw, and I'm saying Enzo and Cass, that essentially still takes it to 9-5 or 10-5 or 11-5, depending on, I guess, yeah, if it's a draw, you have a vote for each. So essentially 10-6, if my maths is correct. So that still makes Elektra and Rogue the winners.
Woo! I voted for them.
Even after I've written down that Cass goes rogue and just boots everyone in the head.
But in saying that, Elektra and Rogue could win, and maybe we can kind of combine our collective thinking, because as I said, I voted for Enzo and Cass to kind of win with a heel turn. Maybe Enzo and Cass just fucking destroy Elektra and Rogue and the referee and the...
And then Cass destroys Enzo.
Yes, they destroy everyone together, and then at the end, they're like, yeah, fuck you guys, that's what you get. And then Cass is just like, bam, that's what you get. So it's like a double heel turn. Elektra and Rogue get the win on the pre-show. This is actually surprisingly more organised than I thought it was going to be. Maybe I'm going to have to use 2 different coloured pens in the future. Okay, so our opening match. Silver Surfer and the Sandman in a hardcore match.
Mm-hmm.
How are you booking this match, Kai?
Well, I've written down here, then it's obviously contested in a hardcore match. Match gets really bloody. Sandman gets the win, but is attacked at the end by Flint Marco.
Okay.
Setting up Sandman versus Sandman for episode 2.
I mean, look, that could be a little precursor because, as we said, we're probably gonna there's a couple of matches, and obviously we'll discuss it off air, so we're not wasting time. But 100%, I think Sandman versus Sandman is gonna be on there. I think that's gonna be locked in, as well as American Badass Taker versus Ghost Rider. I think those are two that are 100% gonna have to be on that. But yeah, wow, okay. So I just said Sandman wins because I mean it's
I kind of just went into detail with all my stuff. That's probably why it took so long.
See, my finish was Silver Surfer tries to use Sandman's kendo stick against him.
That's a bad idea.
Because it's hardcore match, Sandman just goes, fuck you, kicks him in the dick and spits beer in his face. And then he swanton bombs him through his own surfboard for the win.
Fuck yeah.
That was my voting. Anyway, currently this match is 9 votes to 4. If you calculate me and Kye both voting for the Sandman, that makes it 11 votes to 4. So regardless of how we voted, thanks to the listeners' votes, the Sandman won this anyway. The Sandman landslide this fucking thing.
EC dub.
I think some sort of EC dub Mark-A-Palooza at some point is always going to have to come up. Like it has to. Like I don't know how we'll do it in terms of like whether we go like current wrestlers versus ECW wrestlers or. But yeah, well, some sort of EC dub. We'll talk about that at some point.
ECW WWE Invasion. I know that was kind of shit, but you could have WWE wrestlers against ECW.
Good.
We're just gonna. Oh my goodness. But then we gotta, because like I don't really want to go ECW and WC. I suppose we could just kind of go like all three against each other. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to work out like the kinks.
You could even do like TNA Invasion
because like I'm looking at it right, and like obviously by the time the Invasion came around, Mick Foley was well and truly in the WWF. But part of me's like, fuck it, I want Cactus Jack in that ECW roster. Like Cactus Jack. Just like again, I don't know if this is going to be the official one, but Cactus Jack versus Kevin Owens. Obviously, that's modern day WWE, not the old one. But you know what I mean? Like the moment we said EC Dub, my head just went, "Oh, what if we did this?"
Yes.
Or hear me out. Rest in peace to both these men. I actually did a fantasy graphic because they passed away so close together. Bray Wyatt versus Terry Funk.
Yes.
Like, there's so much shit that we have to work out the kinks, giggity, of this ECW episode. But I think 100% like we need to do some sort of ECW episode, and every match is just going to be Extreme Rules because it's full hardcore rules because it's ECF and W. But yeah, match number 3, Sandman wins by a fucking landslide, much to the chagrin. That's a fun word to use. Used to love when Taz used to use that word. Much to the chagrin of one Nova Lee. Okay, match number 4, Deadpool versus Orange Cassidy. This match started as a landslide, started to get a bit closer, and then now one of these competitors are just slightly edging, giggity, ahead of the other. But currently, the votes are 8-5. Obviously, I won't say who to until we talk about who we're voting for. Kye, who are you voting for between Deadpool and Orange Cassidy?
Oh, I got Deadpool on this one. I've written down that Orange Cassidy goes to do his, that thing where he puts his hand in his pocket and he does that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that, and then I've written down that Deadpool just sees it and proceeds to kick him in the freshly squeezed oranges, in quotation marks.
So I actually voted for Orange Cassidy here. But that makes the final vote 9-5. Working 9-5. And the winner of this match is Deadpool.
Woo!
Yes, Deadpool!
Because when this match started, Orange Cassidy was surprisingly getting a lot more votes than Deadpool, and I was actually, like, as I said, like, I kind of, when we were putting these together, I kind of had, like, a slight idea of who I was going to, and I'm like, for the sake of it, I'm like, you know, Orange Cassidy's probably one of the only people that AEW have booked properly, and then again, it got to the point where they started shoving him down the throats with that international title run, but I was like, it was going to be a close match, Cassidy, whether it's a roll-up or just a quick little wham bam 1 2 3, I was like, he just gets it by the skin of his teeth. But even when people started landsliding Orange Cassidy to start off with, I was like, what? I was like, I almost changed my vote to Deadpool just because so many people were voting for OC to start with, and then all of a sudden more people voted, and Deadpool just made a bit of a comeback, brother. Deadpool almost hulked up in a way. I can just imagine that too, Deadpool doing like the full Hulk Hogan like moveset to counteract Orange Cassidy. I'm going to say that. Orange Cassidy hits the orange punch, Deadpool hulks up, kicks out at 1, drops the leg, Orange Cassidy kicks out at 1. But yeah, your winner of this match is Deadpool. Captain Deadpool.
Just Deadpool.
I love that as we were making these matches, Kai quoted that, and I tried to find because obviously with all the comics and stuff that's out there's a lot of variants, and I tried to find a decent photo of the Captain Deadpool like variant, and for the life of me, I couldn't find one that was a decent enough quality to kind of put it in the match graphic, because I was actually going to put him in as Captain Deadpool just to kind of pop you, but it just didn't work. So it kind of worked out the other way, because obviously we've got Orange Cassidy, so they've both got the photos with the thumbs up and the Nick Maltino pose, as I like to call it. Shout out to Nick Maltino. Or the Mick Foley pose, which obviously Maltino stole it from. But yeah, I think it all worked out, but I really wanted that Captain Deadpool photo just to pop Kai. But match number 5, Captain Marvel versus Mercedes Moné. This is an absolute... This might be... I was going to say this might be the biggest landslide, but no, that's a lie. It's the second biggest landslide, I think. Where are we at? Oh, no. Okay. One of the competitors did actually start to catch up towards the end there.
So I'll say, it's pretty close when you look at it.
Yeah, when this started, it was like... This started as the biggest landslide of the lot. Anyway, match number 5. Captain Marvel versus Mercedes Moné. Where are you headed with this guy? I feel like I already know where you're going, but...
I got Captain Marvel winning the match by roll-up.
By a roll-up? Okay, so he's still trying to make Mercedes look strong, brother, or in this case, sister.
Well, I wrote down that Mercedes gets a bit cocky, you know, cutting one of her crappy promos like mid-match, and then, yeah, gets rolled up. 1, 2, 3.
It just really goes to show the difference in the systems, though, doesn't it? Because Sasha Banks' like strengths were her promos. Like,
yeah.
But again, that's what happens when you do have help and production, and maybe she's just not as good as a promo as I thought she was, but fuck me. Anyway.
She's got the looks, she's got the talent.
See,
not the mic skills.
For me, like Sasha, Mercedes. I'm just going to say Sasha Banks because, again, Mercedes hasn't really done much and she got hurt in Japan. But Sasha Banks, specifically, is my all-time favourite women's wrestler. And it's just... What the fuck happened? That's all I want to know. Is just what happened. Okay. But currently this match is sitting at 8 votes to 5. I did vote for Mercedes because, again, it's wrestling. It's her wheelhouse. But I actually had the exact same finish. I had Mercedes rolling up Captain Marvel in my mind.
Okay, well...
But with both of our votes included, with 9 to 5, again, it seems to be a common theme here now. Maybe I should change the song of the week. Fucking 9 to 5. Oh, God. Okay, but with 9 votes to 5, Captain Marvel wins this match.
Woo!
Miss Crossfire just has a love-hate relationship with Mercedes.
Yeah.
Why? Like, she's got the skill. She just doesn't have the mic skill. And I just can't stand her promos. I just want to throw up every time she talks.
Okay. Match number 6. Mr. Fantastic versus RVD in what is now a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Kye, I'm assuming you had some sort of finish for this, but now that we've made it a TLC, we've probably fucked it up. But what was your initial booking of this matchup?
I had RVD winning.
Did you have any specific like way, or was it just a wham bam 5-star?
I literally wrote RVD over because RVD.
I mean, look, that's fair enough. It's he's the whole fucking show. He's Mr. Insert whatever night this pay-per-view's happening on. Mr. 4 and 20. Mr. Pay-per-view. Now Mr. Hall of Famer. Fucking or whatever nicknames he has, but yeah, that's not too bad. So the fact that we've changed it to a CLC hasn't really messed up Kye's booking that much.
RVD's still over because he's still fucking RVD. That's the only reason I put him over.
Honestly, like
RVD.
That's fair. That's honestly fair. What's up, Mrs. Crossfire?
Just looking at the votes for this one.
Oh, for this match specifically that we're talking about here, RVD.
Like, I've seen all the Fantastic Four movies. I do like them, but then I watch RVD's matches and I could watch those for days on end. Yeah,
so this here, as I'm looking at it, is the second most landslide. And again, this was one where we had 12 votes on this one rather than 13. It was one of the two that didn't have the vote. So, I also went with Rob Van Dam. And this was another one where Kye actually threw out Mr. Fantastic, and I said, Mrs. Crossfire, I've got some high flyers for you. And this is where I threw out Rey Mysterio, Rob Van Dam, Seth Rollins, and I think I threw Jeff Hardy in there as well. Because I just viewed Mr. Fantastic as being stretchy and, I viewed him as being flexible.
Yeah.
Before I even finished getting the third name out, I was like, hey, I've got Seth Rollins, Rob Van Dam. I started saying Rey Mysterio, and she was like, Rob Van Dam. And I was like, okay. And then I finished the names, and she was just like, no, Rob Van Dam. And it makes sense, because Rob Van Dam, obviously, extremely flexible in his own right, got the kicks, holds like a record for like certain like stretches and stuff. He actually invented his own fucking weightlifting stretch that involved like squatting across chairs and this weird fucking thing. But anyway, yeah. I think probably it makes the most sense, really.
The only reason I said Mr. Fantastic was because I was looking through my wrestling figures box, and I literally have a Mr. Fantastic figure in there. And I remembered that I used to job him completely.
I mean, I used to do the same, like whether it was Marvel, DC, Dragon Ball, fucking Ninja Turtles. At one point, the main event of my WrestleMania was Raphael versus Spider-Man in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. So, like, fucking sue me. Sue me, brother. I mean, look, that could be another Mark-A-Palooza in its own right, where we just go fictional characters versus fictional characters. Like, there's so much shit we can do with this and just be stupid. But no, I went Rob Van Dam as well.
I have a full diary. Like,
and I'm pretty sure.
Keen to do it.
So, this match, and I think the listeners can probably guess where this is going by Miss Novelle's not so subtle reactions. Currently, as this stands, right, there's 12 votes on this match. It's 11 votes to 1.
Guess who the one vote
that one sole vote is from Miss Novelle.
I love Rod Van Dam, but I was like, this cunt's flexible as fuck, he's gonna win. And then all you cunts voted for Rod Van Dam.
Factoring in the Mighty Kye's vote, factoring in yours truly's vote, your winner with 13 votes to 1 in this tables, ladders, and chairs. Yes, I just did the Rob Van Dam thumbs to that. Your winner is Rob Van Dam. He is now Mr. TLC. Maybe Rob Van Dam is Mr. Mark-A-Palooza. Rob Van Dam squashes Mr. Fantastic in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. I think he's going to stretch him but not in the way that he'd like. Like, he's just going to roll that motherfucker up. Like, my God.
I don't even know if that's PG.
As I said, I think he's just going to, like, twist him around the ladder and shit so he can't move, and then he's just going to pick up another ladder, climb, and grab whatever the briefcase is, or... What's inside the what's hanging? Because I don't like the TLC matches that end in pinfall and submission. I think that's kind of stupid. It's basically just a... But what would we have hanging? Some sort of Marvel or something.
I was going to say just a big old joint.
That's why he squashed him. He wanted that Marvel space cush. That's Howard the Duck cush. It's just got like the Infinity Gauntlet with like everything hanging above it.
Infinity Gauntlet of kush.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Different types of kush.
Oh my God. Hashtag Marvel Space Kush. Would this... Oh, you know what it'd be? In honor of Stan Lee. The Stan Lee Excelsior Space Kush.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Rob Van Dam squashes Mr. Fantastic in its tables, ladders, and chairs match. Hey, how's that go? Do you want to just let one more out just so we can move on to match 7?
There we go.
Mrs. Crossfire.
Fuck you, buddy.
I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. Oh, God. Okay, match number 7. I almost said Luke Jones. My fucking God. Luke Cage, Jessica Jones versus Peyton Royce and Sean Spears. Currently, the votes are sitting at, if I can find it, 9-4.
Okay.
So,
Well,
tell us how you're booking this.
I got Luke Cage and Jessica Jones winning via DQ.
Ooh, via DQ.
Because Sean Spears decides he wants to use the chair. Just mid-match, he'll just pick the chair up and just start swinging. I think I wrote down that the referee accidentally gets causing the DQ.
So again, originally I had this as my first match on the pre-show, which now that I think about it, I'm glad this isn't, because with how convoluted my finish was, would make no sense to do on a pre-show. But my original thought was Sean Spears has the chair, Cassie Lee distracts the ref, but because the ref's distracted Jessica Jones, because she's more of an anti-hero than an actual hero, gives a cheeky little low blow or a thumb to the eye or something to Sean Spears, and then Luke Cage hits whatever his finisher is to Sean Spears onto the chair. But then I realized that's pretty similar to what I did with Sandman and Silver Surfer, so I don't fucking know. But I had Luke Cage and Jessica Jones going over here regardless. So we're both on that train of thought there.
Just different endings,
so,
per se.
So yeah, without our votes, what did I say? It's 9-4. With our votes, unfortunately, 9-6. Your winners are Sean. Oh God, Sean Spears and Peyton Royce. I think I just busted something in my stomach. That fucking hurt. This is going to be the worst episode of the pod ever, and I'm so sorry, Kye, because I'm having so much fun doing this. Oh, God.
Back to my chance. Bullshit.
So,
Bullshit.
Sean Spears is still going to use the chair and get away with it, is what people are saying.
Possibly. I don't know, but your winners are Sean / What is it with Canadian people named Sean?
Sean.
Even though
he is Canadian, isn't he? I forgot.
Even though that's not his real name. I can't think of his real name off the top of my head, but anyway.
It's not his real name? What?
I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but it's like Ronnie or something weird.
Ronnie William Arnold. Arneal?
Arneal?
Yeah, I just looked it up, yeah.
It's Ronnie. It is Ronnie. I had it right. Holy fuck.
Ronnie William Arneal.
Ronnie! Yeah, because I remember actually Chris Van Vliet was interviewing Peyton just after she'd been released as Cassie Lee. And she's like, oh, like, what plans do you and Ronnie have? And I was like, who the fuck is Ronnie? All I was thinking of was that scene from Longest Yard. I got a bird. His name is Ronnie. Well, damn, Ronnie, you got knocked the fuck out.
I love that scene.
Oh, my God. The Mighty Thor versus Rhea Ripley. This was the biggest landslide of the entire card. And to be honest, I was actually shocked because this was one that I thought would have been a lot closer. But again, a lot of people didn't like the Love and Thunder movie. I know Kye didn't. I actually really enjoyed it, but
I did see Love and Thunder. I hated it.
I mean,
actually,
not the strongest entry into the Thor series for sure, but I thought, as far as, you know, especially with how oversaturated superhero movies in general have become, let alone the amount of fucking Marvel standalone content that's out there, I thought it did fit in nicely, but I can see why people... It could have been better. It could have been better, and I can see why people didn't like it, but I still did like it for what it was. But
I just didn't like the fact that Thor had a sidekick. He's a god. He doesn't need a sidekick.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue, is they didn't, like... I know there was some people that were like, Thor shouldn't be a woman, and I'm like, okay, calm down. But like,
okay, that's a little too far.
But like, I feel like introducing Jane as like Thor, especially with the multiverse and stuff that's like coming in now, is fine, because there is, like, she is Thor in like some of the alternate like timeline comic books.
Yeah.
But I do see your point there. They didn't really do a good enough job of kind of establishing the two as standalone gods per se. I did like the way that they portrayed...
They kind of just threw her into the mix, and it was like, who the fuck is this?
The way that they portrayed that, because she was technically a human, the fatigue and stuff that it was taking on her, and, you know, it's probably a spoiler, but the movie's been out for a handful of years now. But, like, the fact that it almost killed her being Thor, the way they got that across on screen was done really, really well. But no, I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head, that she did really just seem like a sidekick.
Yeah.
And I think that probably is the issue, to be honest. I'm getting eyebrows from Nova Lee. Obviously, this is an audio on the podcast. If you have something to say, just...
Is she giving you the people's eyebrow?
This is where I voted for a wrestler, Kye.
I thought I did something wrong.
Okay.
The look she was giving me. I was like,
the
fuck did I do?
I did look through it, and I stand corrected. I do apologize.
So out of 10 matches, she voted for 2 wrestling teams, or two wrestlers.
Yes, I did. I'm a fucking nerd, leave me alone.
Still on that Ashley Klein train when it's 8-2, but...
Bitch, I still did it a little bit.
But yes, currently this is 12-1. 12-1. I don't even know who that one person was that voted for 4. I'd have to go back and... Well,
it was someone named Kyle Bowden.
I don't know who that is, but if you listen to this episode, shout out for voting for voting for Thor. But yes, like, we've just spoiled it, but currently, like, it's a landslide. Rhea Ripley squashes Thor even worse than Rob Van Dam just squashed Mr. Fantastic. Yeah. But
I had a squash match for mine too.
For all intents and purposes, run through how you were planning on booking this guy.
I just had mine booked for a squash where Rhea hits the Riptide from the get-go onto the Mighty Thor, onto whatever her hammer's name is, for the win. She just picks her up mid-air and just fucking Riptides her mid-air, and then just, pins her.
See, I was kind of on the same boat where it was like bang, bang, bang. She hit like 2 Riptides, like in a row. She doesn't kick out of the first one because we don't need finished kickouts in a throwaway match. Pins her, and I went super cheesy where it was like, you know, they shake hands, hug, and then because Thor's like fucked up, she almost leaves without the hammer, and Rhea just casually picks it up and passes it to her. And everyone's just like, oh, shit! Like, it wasn't even a big build-up of can she lift it. She just went, this is yours. And just passes it back to her. And everyone's like, oh, damn! Rhea lifted it! Again, in the Vegeta gear, I don't know, because Vegeta's a bit of a prick, even though he's my favourite character. But no, that's how I thought. It was like, strong showing, make him look strong, brother, or sister, but I had Rhea going over, so... I guess with our votes collectively, we have 15 votes to 1 with Rhea Ripley defeating the Mighty Thor. My God. Match number 7. Oh, sorry, match number 8, rather. I can count.
Yeah.
Match 8. Rhea Ripley squashing the Mighty Thor. But I think the way we've booked it is, I think it's fine. It makes sense. But yeah, match number 9. We got big, meaty men slapping meat. We got The Thing versus Batista.
I walk alone.
This is obviously 2005 Batista, so this is like Royal Rumble winning Batista, so he's got the Jim Johnston theme still. But anyway, regardless, they both slap.
Okay.
Evolution is a mystery. That's a banger theme too, so it could have been the Evolution theme. Who knows? But all 3 of his themes have been awesome. But again, you give me the eyebrows. Is this the second? Did you
Yes.
Vote? Yeah. Okay. So you
This
voted
is
for
the
Batista
second
here.
wrestler. Yes.
Okay.
Again, I did say sorry.
Oh Jesus. Okay. So
Oh, yes.
Kai, tell us how you're booking this big meaty man slapping breast scissors.
I got Batista winning.
I feel like
Technically, all I wrote down though was Batista bomb.
I feel like I've been kind of one-sided to a lot of the wrestlers on this card too. My bad. But
Yeah,
again,
Ashley Klein Jr.
But I went with Batista this too because I went Batista 05. I went Batista winning the Rumble, Batista running through Evolution, Batista winning the world title at WrestleMania before being drafted to SmackDown. Like this is Batista at his peak with arguably the greatest spinebuster of all time. Fight me.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-mm.
that 05 Rumble, like where he's just spinebustering everyone. Oh, so good. So fucking good.
I used to
Honestly.
love playing as Batista in the 07, 06 games.
06 Batista was so fucking OP. Like, I think he may have, like, everyone talks about how OP Goldberg and Brock were in Here Comes the Pain. But Batista in the first SmackDown vs. Raw, but especially SmackDown vs. Raw 06, may rival that. Like, he was so OP. It was not funny.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so you voted for Batista. I voted for
Yep.
Batista. Currently, the votes for this are at 9-4. So realistically, it doesn't really matter. 11 votes to 4. Batista beats the Thing. So not quite a squash, but still very decisive. Like, I don't know if he gets him up for the Batista bomb or not, or if it's just a big old couple of spine busters in a row. But man, like Batista,
He's got to throw in a Batista bomb. Come on.
I mean, I think about like the Batista bomb where he hit it on Umaga and he overbalanced but still protected him. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's a low-key banger match too, by the way. WrestleMania 24, like when it was the Raw versus SmackDown match, and it was just like they just threw Batista and Umaga in there just so they were both on the card. It's actually a pretty fucking decent, like, big man match. Like, very underrated.
Well, rest in peace to Umaga.
Yes, so your winner, I Walk Alone, Batista. And then that brings us to our main event of the evening. And I didn't actually write down the votes physically because on the sheet I have Wrestlers versus Marvel filling that box already just because it was locked in. But I have it on my phone. Currently, the votes are sitting at 10-3. I'm not going to say which way just yet. I think I did actually spoil that earlier. But for those keeping track at home, who cares? Tell me how you're going to book this. Like which team do you have going over first and foremost? But
I got the team wrestlers going over.
okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, who you got going over?
So this is where I did go with Team Marvel. And maybe I'm biased because I love Spider-Man, but I did throw in Spider-Ham just for a bit of comedy. But I think a team led by Nick Fury, locked in a cage. I mean, I think you got Captain America in there. That shield's a weapon. You got the Hulk, who's a weapon in himself. Him and Brock Lesnar are just going to kill each other in that cage. But Obviously, you got Daredevil as well. That Kane's probably going to come into play. Not the Singapore variety that Sandman uses, but the blind people variety, like I own, and it's in a box somewhere. I actually did find it recently. Thinking about using it if I ever get to come back at wrestling, just fucking come back as the half-blind manager and just start hitting people with my fucking cane. Potential spoiler alert, who knows? But no, like I just think the Marvel characters have more weapons automatically at their disposal, on top of the fact that they're in a wrestling ring with God knows what else.
Zach Gallen can use his prosthetic leg as a weapon.
He could.
Jim Duggan's got his 2x4.
So there is still a little bit of leeway.
I don't even know what Maven does.
Maven has a drop kick that, because it's a big stage, he'll probably miss.
Yeah,
Maven will go to drop kick the Incredible Hulk and somehow miss his target.
I'm like,
live on pay-per-view.
I guess that's all Maven does, is drop kick and talk about how great his career was.
Look, honestly, Maven was a super athletic dude and could have been so much more.
He was, but he acts like his career was like the best career. He acts like his career was better than Undertaker.
Now, this is where, like, and again, we don't know this dude personally, but there's an old expression, and that's ego kills talent.
Yep.
And I think possibly what happened was Maven just got a bit too big for his britches. And he himself has been kind of, to his credit, he has been pretty self-aware on that, hey, maybe my attitude could have been better. But, like, no, I think for me, I went team wrestlers, but you're saying team... Sorry, I went team Marvel, you went team wrestlers. ADHD, my mouth is moving before my brain. But is there any particular finish that you had in mind here?
I had written down that Joe Hendry pins Hulk.
Joe Hendry pins the Hulk. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It doesn't. It sounded a lot better in my head.
Joe Hendry saw the match previously with Batista spinebustering the thing and was like, "Hold my beer," and does his big elevated spinebuster to the Hulk.
I was trying to do it in my head, and then I wrote it down on paper.
Through a table, my
God.
So I actually went. I actually went with Team Marvel, and as I look at it, I have like Daredevil just pinning either Maven or Zach Gallen, just because why not?
Yeah.
Because I feel like as much as like I love Daredevil, and as much as Spider-Ham is a kind of comedy character, Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man powers are still more arguably stronger than the Daredevil powers. Like obviously Daredevil's senses are heightened, but the fighting skills and stuff are. You'd argue that Spider-Man, once he's like an adult and fully trained, could potentially beat Daredevil, but I guess that's a completely different debate. But I think like just having Daredevil, who's in my opinion the lesser person on his team, get the win, just give him that little shine and make him look strong. But currently, as I said, this is at 10-3 with your vote and my vote. 11-4. Team wrestlers win War Games.
Did it actually?
Team wrestlers, again, not as strong as a landslide, but still wrestlers manhandling Marvel characters inside the War Games.
If it makes you guys feel any better, I did also write down that Hulk injures Brock Lesnar. And Maven.
Brock Lesnar and Maven.
I don't know. I just saw I saw that Maven was in the card, and I was like, yeah, fuck this guy off. We're gonna write him off TV.
Oh god. His first and possibly last appearance in Mark-A-Palooza after the Incredible Hulk got his hands on him inside War Games. Oh my god. But just to recap, we had match 1 on the pre-show. We got our first ever draw. So, yeah. Woo! Shout out to Sean. The first ever Mark-A-Palooza that he didn't vote on. And we finally got a draw. And it was the first match on the card. But honestly, I feel like Loki versus the Boogeyman, if you were to kind of, take both of those guys and simulate it within a wrestling setting, I could 100% see that being the case. And if you're going to do it, might as well do it on the pre-show rather than, the main card where you want more of a decisive winner. Match number 2 saw Elektra and Rogue kind of very defiantly defeating Enzo and Cass. But as we said, there's going to be a heel turn afterwards, and then there's going to be like a double heel
cross.
turn because Cass is then just going to take out Enzo as well, just because why the fuck not? Our opening match, we see the Sandman just batter the Silver Surfer in a hardcore match. Match number 4 was somewhat competitive, but Deadpool outlasts Orange Cassidy. Number 5 started looking like a squash, but did come back to look a bit closer. Captain Marvel just outlasting Mercedes Moné. Match number 6 was an absolute squash. Rob Van Dam just taking Mr. Fantastic to the extreme in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Oh my! At the request of Miss Nova Lee. Regardless of whether it was a regular match or a TLC match, it was a squash anyway. But Miss Nova Lee just up to the brutality because EC dub. Match number 7 saw Sean Spears and Peyton Royce just managing to outlast. Well, not just managing to outlast, but somewhat outlasting Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. Match number 8 saw the biggest squash of the night with Rhea Ripley actually just destroying the Mighty Thor. And why not? I mean, after all, she is Rhea bloody Ripley. Of course she can beat the Mighty Thor. And as far as all three of us are concerned, I think after the match, Rhea Ripley yields Monia because she's Rhea bloody Ripley. If people can talk, and I know that this is Marvel and not DC, but if people can sit there and say that Batman would do this and Batman would do that simply just because he's Batman, then fuck you. Rhea Ripley can raise Mjolnir because she's Rhea bloody Ripley. That's as far as I'm concerned. Match number 9, big meaty man slap and meat. The Thing starts off hot, but Batista just hulks up, essentially, pun not intended, and just destroys
and
the
then
Thing.
annihilates him with a Batista bomb at the end.
Batista bomb! And then, yeah, the wrestlers pick apart Team Marvel inside of War Games.
Like I said, Maven gets injured.
With a team consisting of Maven and Zach Gowen, a man with one leg, but Joe Hendry and Brock Lesnar, along with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, ho! They managed to beat the Incredible Hulk and Captain America and Spider-Ham and Daredevil and Nick motherfucking Fury. Man, I don't know how their styles would clash, but Nick Fury versus Seth Rollins needs to happen as well at some point. Seth freaking Rollins, Nick motherfucking Fury. Sick of these motherfucking wrestlers in these motherfucking cage. Well, yeah, I think, honestly, if this was a real card or someone was to simulate this in a video game, I'd watch it. Why the fuck not? And surprisingly, yeah. I thought this was going to go crazier than the Star Wars episode, but it's funny thing is, it's been funner than the Star Wars one was, despite the fact that I'm dying, but it didn't get as crazy like with the Golden Showers match between Goldust and C-3PO.
Yeah, my
not what you think, by the way. Not what you think. If you're thinking what that actually means, that's on you. It was just basically all the weapons were just painted gold.
Yeah, my creativity was very off for that. And it was my first one, so I was thinking it was just on the fly.
But is there anything that you're not happy with in terms of results? I'll start with you, Nova Lee. Are there any results you're unhappy with?
I can't even remember which one it was now. There was one and I was the only person that voted.
Oh, the Fantastic RVD.
Yeah, I was like, damn it. Then I kind of wanted to go RVD, so I was like, should have just did it.
So how do you feel about Rob Van Dam?
I love Rob Van Dam. But it makes me
But she
sad.
fucking hates the listeners now. Heel turn by Nova Lee.
Yeah, fuck you guys. Hate you all now.
What about you guys? Is there anything that you wish was different in terms of how you wanted to book it?
Yeah, definitely. I wanted Sean Spears to lose the match by DQ just because it's funny to watch a wrestler swing a chair mid-match.
Yeah, just have him go fucking ham and be like, fuck.
Clock the referee in the head.
And I mean, it's match 7 of the card, so it kind of makes sense that, fuck, we're running short of time, brother. Get your shit in, hit the chair, get DQ'd, get out.
Yeah.
See, the only thing
that's originally where I was coming from. Except then I thought, hey, it's funny if it'd be more funny if you fucking smash the referee instead of the opponent.
The only thing that bugs me is I think I still think Mercedes Moné should have gone over Captain Marvel, but I am glad that she did start to come back, because this was one of the ones that, like, obviously besides Rhea and Thor, there was at one point, like, I think there was 6 or 7 votes at that point, and Captain Marvel just had all of them, and then Mercedes kind of started to pick up steam and come back.
I mean, at least it's by roll up instead of an actual clean pinfall.
I do like that despite the fact that we had different votes, we still had that as a finish of, they can win by roll up. It's fine. And this is either why it's a good thing that we're not booking or why we should be booking. You can look at it from either way.
It doesn't bury anyone.
Fucking wacky roll up.
And it sets up a story too.
I was very happy in the choice of the promo photos that I used, though, with, like, obviously Captain Marvel having the flames come out of her hand, basically, and then, like, CEO Mercedes from Japan with the flames in her hair. But no, I honestly think we've pulled together a pretty solid card here, and this is probably, because usually I do Instagram votes as well, but I think from now on I'm just going to do just Facebook. And just hammering home the fact of, hey, if you vote, please vote on all of them. Like, as I said, there was 2 matches where, for some reason, one of the people that voted didn't vote on, but for the most part, these did become closer than they usually did. Like, we managed to kind of salvage this, and because if they all end up just being landslides, it's like, well, why the fuck are we here? Like, but no, I think we did a good job, and I think we've put together some pretty good matches, but I think we definitely need to talk about doing a second version of Marvel versus Marvel versus wrestlers, because there's infinite matches that we could do, honestly. But I definitely think, I don't know if we should do that. Like, I don't know which one we should do next. Should we do that one? Should we do the ECW one? Should we do the Dragon Ball one with someone else? There's a Nickelodeon one that Mrs Crossfire wants to do just because we're children. Like, I don't know. We're going to have to work out, like, off air, like, which Mark-A-Palooza is going to be next. Like, what? It's going to be Mark-A-Palooza 10.
Keep me off the Nickelodeon episode.
It's Mark-A-Palooza 10 coming up next. It's going to be something cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with doing another part, like a part 2 of
because we've got to do Marvel versus... Because obviously now that we've done Marvel, we're going to do Marvel versus DC as well.
Oh, shit. We got to do that one, too.
What do we do? What should we do here, y'all? Because Kye, I think, is probably going to be on the majority of these now, just because they're fun and he actually reads and follows the rules. And
I
have a diary that I can write things down.
I'm always breaking the rules.
Yeah, that's not nice. You shouldn't be breaking the rules.
No, I make her the co-host.
Break the rules all the time.
I make her the co-host, and she's like, "Fuck you! I'm the boss now, so I'm going to do this." And I'm like, "Hey, you're only half the boss."
But who's the boss of the house, though?
Obviously me.
Sure, punk.
I'm going to get knocked out the moment I stop recording.
I'm going to let you think
let's have a prayer for our fallen soldier. A fallen rogue soldier.
I'd just like to say, ego kills talent.
Fucking push the right button that time. Yes! I've done really good. Like, at the start, like, obviously I was like, broke the fourth wall, but every time I've pressed my soundboard throughout this episode, throughout all the issues, I've done the right sound every time on the first time. So, that's a positive to come out of this technology fuck around. But what do you think? I think for Mark-A-Palooza 10, do we just go Wrestlers versus Marvel 2, or do we go DC? Or
yeah, let's go part 2.
I think just part 2 of Wrestlers versus Marvel, because I really enjoyed... I'm going to have to think of a name, though, because I'm currently thinking Avenge Us, but I think that's kind of on the nose. Like, that's a bit silly. I don't know.
That's kind of cheesy.
Cheesy. But I don't want to just go Avengeful 2. I don't know. I'll think of something, unless y'all got something to throw out on air.
I have no idea.
Nothing's
coming to mind.
Should we throw this out to the listeners?
To do it as a Survivor Series type.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, we'll lock it in. So, like, the main event is like a multi-man match, and we'll pick both sides again just to kind of make it even and book it last and da-da-da-da. But I think, should we throw it out to the listeners, like on the Facebook page and everything, and everyone that listens to this and be like, hey, because like obviously we'll probably like leave a couple of weeks and stuff before we, because we've got to do the votes and the graphics, and I think having the 2-week period for the voting, I think 2 weeks will probably be the standard from now on, just to get it out there and promote it and build it up. But no, I think we throw that to the listeners. If Kye and I or Miss Novalee and I think of something in the meantime, we might just go, hey guys, this is what it is. But I might even do that and just say, like, try and think of a way to put it into like the description and be like, what do you guys think? We should do this and da-da-da-da, and fucking, try and be professional, which Lord knows I am not. But no, I think, we're going to say this on air and we'll stop ranting that Mark-A-Palooza 10 will just be Wrestlers versus Marvel 2, because why the fuck not? And we'll have a Survivor Series style elimination match. But I am keen for Survivor Series this year, though, because even though it's a little bit away, I think we're going to go back to the original format where whether it's me and Novalee, or whether it's me and Kye, or whether it's all three of us, although that'll probably easily be a 2.5 hour episode with all three of us, we go I'll give like a roster of people and we literally write, 6 matches and we go through on air and compare, and the listeners can decide who had a better card. All the fun stuff. But yeah, this is just us ranting. But no, definitely Wrestlers versus Marvel 2. But I think we've pretty much hit the nail on the head here. But
definitely.
So Miss Novalee's pissed off that Mr. Fantastic was squashed. Kye's not happy that Sean Spears didn't get to just waste someone with the chair. And I'm not happy that Mercedes Moné was treated the way she was. But mainly...
He wanted the referee to get smacked with a chair.
Mainly by TK in real life than here in Mark-A-Palooza. But that's it. I think we've ranted enough about that. But honestly, I think I want to do some sort of TNA one as well at some point, because like the NXT TNA stuff is pretty cool. Although I'm not just going to do NXT, I'm going to do like a full TNA versus WWE card, so that way it's main roster people. Because again, this might not make it to the card, but like John Cena versus Joe Hendry, like why not? Or even though he works for creative in WWE now, if you would take like the Abyss character and put him against Kane or Undertaker or someone like that, like, or Mankind or something cool, like something cool and creative, and just mark out because it's Mark-A-Palooza. But no, I feel like we've done a pretty entertaining job despite the fact that we're both dying, and I thank you, Kye, for jumping on and having fun with us and just doing stupid shit. And
thank you for having me.
Killing time.
Always a pleasure.
I'm glad that we got the technical issues sorted. I'm going to have to look into the Rode website and see if I can just get a replacement power cord, because it's just the power cord itself. Once it's plugged in, it's fine, but for some reason it just won't stay in the hole. That's what she said.
I don't even know if that's PG.
I'm getting a lot of work out of that button today. But then again, maybe it could have been I think we'll let you go, Kye. Otherwise, we're just going to start ranting about Tony Khan and Maven and global warming and politics, and I don't even know.
Maybe the first two, but the last two, no.
So, how do you think about... No, fuck that. Oh, my God. Honestly, though, like, Donald Trump is a Hall of Famer in the WWE. Wrestlers versus political figures. Abe Lincoln did used to be a professional wrestler back in the fucking day.
He had 300 odd wins and 1 loss.
Yeah. But the question is, was professional wrestling a work back then?
No.
Was he scripted to win those? Or did Abe Lincoln literally just fucking
I guess we'll never know.
See, I don't know that much about the American political system other than a few people, but wrestlers versus presidents would be absolutely fucking stupid, but
it really would.
We could bring back Donald Trump versus Vince McMahon. Let's not do that. Fuck Vince McMahon. This is just...
That was a terrible
this
match.
is going off the rails.
I still wish Donald Trump had been shaved bald.
Same, because Vince killed ECW with that stupid do-rag.
You know what?
What up, Holmes?
If Vince McMahon somehow does get cleared of all of these crazy stuff that we're not going to get into on this podcast, That's a big if. Do-Rag Vince, specifically Do-Rag Vince, is going to be on one of these Mark-A-Paloozas somehow. That's all I'm saying.
Why did I bring that up? I'm throwing out my ECW title now.
We just put it on the Corny Conversation page of Mighty Kye just burning his ECW championship and like cutting a promo on Vince McMahon. Fuck. I've just become delirious from all the cough medicine and oh god. Okay, Mark-A-Palooza 10. When it happens, will be Wrestlers versus Marvel 2. We're gonna throw it out to you guys, the fans, to make some suggestions, and hey, maybe we'll get like 3, 4, 5, however many good ones. And maybe we'll even do a poll. Potentially, this is where the Instagram will come in handy for the Facebook. Oh, sorry, for the podcast. And obviously, Kye only has Facebook, so he can just send me his vote. But maybe we'll do. This is where the Instagram will come in handy. We might do like an Instagram poll for the name. But yeah, just we'll throw it out to you, the listeners. If you make it this far, we've kept this under 2 hours somehow, and hopefully, once we do the intro and outro, it'll just be on 2 hours. But I think we'll wrap it up. I'll let you go. Again, I appreciate you coming on and just honestly, like, I feel like shit right now mentally and physically, and when we sit down and we do these episodes and we just shoot the shit and we do stupid stuff, it puts me in a much, much better mood. So I appreciate you jumping on and just being a part of this.
Appreciate you having me.
It's just crazy,
stupid. I hope you both
podcast.
feel better soon.
Yes, and I'm just glad it's happened now, and I've got a window to get better before I got to travel back to Sydney for my eye appointment, and I swear to God, if I get sick again on the way back from that, I'm going to be pissed. But yeah, it's a fun time. Thanks for jumping on. I'll let you go, my brother. But peace out, my dude.
All right, too easy, my dude. Peace out.
See you, Kye.
See ya.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. As always, Mark-A-Palooza got absolutely nuts, but that's the whole point. And like, honestly, even only like 3 people listen to this episode out of like all the episodes, I don't really care. Like, I just have fun, just being a nerd and marking out. And as I did mention, if you've made it all the way through this episode, I mean, kudos to you because it was a lot of crap. But it just really helps our mental health, and it's just fun. Like, you know, why not? That's the whole point of it being Mark-A-Palooza, is we're just having a festival of marking out. But I have to say, in the intro that you heard, you know, almost 2 hours ago now, if you've listened to this entire episode, for someone that does have such a sore throat and is battling this illness the way you are, Miss Novalee, Mrs Crossfire, you that introduction you did for Mighty Kye was still pretty much on point. I mean, granted, you did have a massive coughing fit after the fact, and we had to wait for you to stop coughing to record this outro. But again, the power of time travel. But no, I think you nailed that intro for Mighty Kye, hit it on the head. But as we said in the intro, and if you have got this far, Mark-A-Palooza 10 will be Wrestlers vs. Marvel Part 2. We're going to throw it out to you guys. Suggest the names. Myself, Novalee, and Mighty Kye will pick a handful of, like, which we'll converse. We'll have a conversation about caught in conversation and pick, 3, 4, probably 4 or 5, really, depending on how many good suggestions we get. I reckon probably 4 will be the sweet spot, but yeah, we'll pick a handful of them anyway, of ones that we think are the best, and then we'll throw it out to the fans, the listeners to vote on. And yeah, you listeners will pick the name of that episode. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this, and we hope you guys play along. And we appreciate you guys that did play along and voted, and just had some fun. Just here I go dying live on air. But no, just let your hair down, so to speak, and just be a little silly, be a little bit stupid. Why not? But yeah, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. This is dropping on Sunday, July 14th, if my math is correct. Looking at my calendar right now. Yes, I can read a calendar now. Very early in this podcast, I made so many mistakes and getting dates wrong. And I think actually we did recently with the respective rumbles with PWA and MCW and all that fun stuff when we talked to Royal Label. Go back and listen to that episode if you haven't already. But no, I've got the calendar right in front of me as I record this, so I'm actually reading it properly. This is dropping on Sunday, July 14th. So, with that being said, July 20th, MXW Battle of the Border, Victoria versus South Australia, link in bio. ICW Australia and Masked Wrestlers League are combining their smashing together for Saturday Night Smash, August 17th, link in description. October 26th, Emma Butler Memorial Show. I have talked at length about this show. We will have High Octane on this show here very, very soon. Definitely going to mind our P's and Q's for that one because it's a fundraiser show, it's a charity show, and it's taking place inside a church. So I'd like the advertisement for that to match it as best as I can. But the link for that Emma Butler Memorial Show, link in description. And of course, closing out our year, November 23rd, ECW show number 3, ECW A Hard Day's Fight. Link in the description. I think I actually just nailed all of those in one take.
You nailed all of those, and you got the dates correct.
Let's go! Let's fucking go. Miss Nova Lee, would you like to recap the song and the match of the week, please?
Okie dokie. So for episode 116, The Vengeful One by Disturbed is your song of the week, and your match of the week is Team Ciampa versus Undisputed Era War Games match. NXT TakeOver War Games 2019.
You kind of went from like William Regal to Triple H very quick there. But it's the raspy float, brother. Almost sounds like Vince McMahon with a lethal dose of poison in the NWO. I completely lost my train of thought there because I was just being stupid. But no, I did enjoy this episode. We've only just gone over 2 hours, and that includes the intro and now the outro, which we're doing. So I'm pretty happy with that for a Mark-A-Palooza episode. I think, an hour and a half, hour 40-ish for a Mark-A-Palooza episode. It's pretty standard, and that was even with the little small talk beforehand where we were just, talking about our favourite War Games matches and reading the rules and going through the matches and yada, yada, yada. So I think we've done a good job. I think we've done a really good job here for episode 116, considering we're putting it together 2 days before it's going to go out because we've just been feeling like absolute death. I've been wanting to get back into my Twitch streaming all week, and it's just feeling horrible. Yeah, I think the World Series review will come eventually, hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, we're both just, as you'll hear in the conversation with Kye, again, if you've made it this far, we're coughing and spluttering. We tried our best to, not die on air, all jokes aside. Like, we try not to cough into the microphone and make too much of a noise, but unfortunately these are things we can't control. But no, thanks, Kye, for coming on. But yeah, you guys give us suggestions for names, and as I said, we'll throw a post out on the Court and Conversation Facebook page, which is what I was trying to segue to with all of those links, and that's where I was going then before I started doing the stupid Vince McMahon voice. Hit the link tree. I have a link tree. Nova Lee has a link tree as well for her social medias with her Instagram, her X, and her TikTok.
Yeah.
I believe are all in there. I believe that's what's in there. But if you click on my link tree, you'll have all of them. You'll have my personal Facebook. You'll have the Court and Conversation Facebook. You'll have my personal Instagram, the Court and Conversation Instagram, my graphics page, which is currently only an Instagram page. On Facebook, it's just my personal page for all my family and friends and wrestling friends to see and hopefully spread the word about me. There's an Amazon wish list if for whatever reason you're that way inclined. There is a GoFundMe. Again, I'm not going to beg and borrow, but hey, we've got the spare cash with all these medical bills. Does go a long way. But yeah, I think just make sure the priority, follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram. It's this weird thing of I'm way more active in terms of trying to do fan interactive on Facebook, but I'm more likely to reply to a message on the conversation page if it's through Instagram. I don't know why I'm that way. It's just how my brain works.
Mm-hmm.
Alternatively, if you have a serious inquiry, if you'd like to be on this show, you can message us or you can email me. The link is in the description, courtinthebookings@gmail.com. I've been getting quite a lot of scammers in that email lately and bots, and it's frustrating as all fuck, but I guess, does that mean we're making it that I'm starting to get all this traffic now? with nothing but bots. But no, if you want to be on the show, or if you have a suggestion for who you'd like to see on the show, hit us up, let us know. But yeah, keep an eye out for the post where we'll be naming Mark-A-Palooza 10, and just keep an eye out for all episodes. Just keep interacting on Facebook, share with a friend. Just appreciate y'all and titty sprinkles. But yeah, just check all the links that I mentioned, get the tickets for the events. Obviously, I understand that I have listeners. Literally, I was going to say all over the country, but literally all over the world. That one listener, I'm assuming it's just one listener, but whoever's listening in Singapore is still burning through those episodes, and it's again. Yes. I've said it many, many times. I really hope that they're not just trying to use this pod to learn English or something like that, because my God, that could end chaotically. But no, the listener in Singapore is burning through. The couple popping back up in Russia again. UK is doing pretty well, but Australia obviously is the main one. So yeah, but just hit us up.
Come to think of it, with the Singapore, actually on my TikTok at the moment, I've been seeing a lot of different wrestlers from Singapore, and it's actually really interesting. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, quite cool. There's a little. I'm not going to say quite a number, but a little handful of wrestlers in Singapore starting to kind of be known to the Australian audiences too. So it could even be, who knows, maybe someone from, MyPW or Grapple Max or whatever the schools are over there.
Grapple Max is the one I know of. Yeah.
I mean, obviously MyPW is Malaysia, not Singapore, but anyway, I don't know. I'm terrible at geography, but whatever. Sorry, sue me. Concussions. I just realized what I said, but anyway.
We see you.
I appreciate y'all. Probably come off as overtly racist. My bad, but that wasn't my intention. This is one take, and I'm not going to redo it. But yeah, it's how do you say the Oriental Wrestling Federations? I guess, is Oriental the right word to use? Would that be?
I guess so.
The Southeast Asian area for wrestling has started to pop up in the last few years, and it's fucking.
We've noticed,
It's cool to see, and some of them, a lot of them are. Singapore are really starting to make a bang, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap this up without shooting myself in the foot, but but both Malaysia and Singapore are in the Southeast Asia area, which that I do know from geography, and that's why my brain kind of just. But it's really fucking awesome, and gonna wrap this up now. Yes. I am the essential John Crossfire.
I am Nova Lee.
And you were just caught
in conversation. Shakalaka.
Fuck my life.
Titty sprinkles. You keep saying it. I'm gonna repeat it. Adios.